السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على أفضل الخلق وسيد المرسلين، سيدنا وحبيبنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. So we're talking about the life of our beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and we discussed the first encounter in the cave of Hira. We discussed the encounter with his family when he first called them to Islam. And now we're going to talk about the next stage. And in the beginning, it's very important to note there were 5 stages of the Meccan period. And the first was when the Prophet ﷺ, he received the message, he became a prophet, a nubuwah, the prophethood. Secondly, when he is commanded, second, when he calls people, he calls his family, he warns his family about the last day, and that he's been sent to them as a messenger. Third, that he warns his people in general, the people of Mecca. And the fourth is warning the Arabs as a whole. And the fifth is calling the world community to Islam. And so we go today into the third phase of the message during the time of Mecca. And we remember a particular couple of incidents that took place. And so what happened is the Prophet ﷺ started now preaching to people. And he started going to people, the rich, the poor, masters, slaves, different people in different segments of society, and telling them about the message of Islam, conveying to them the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this, of course, started ruffling the feathers of the chiefs of Quraysh, because they felt this was a threat to everything they know as their way of life, where they took their economic gains from, which was by taking advantage of the fact that people worshipped idols, and it became a whole industry for them, and so on. So they go to the uncle of our beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Abu Talib, who was the one who raised the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam at a certain stage of his life, and he had tremendous love for his nephew, for our beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he protected him at all costs. So they go to him and they tell him, "Oh, Abu Talib, that your nephew, he is creating a disturbance in society. He is cursing our gods. He is putting down our way of life, our traditions. He's patronizing us. He's downplaying our intellect. He's saying that our forefathers were astray, and you should either prevent him from continuing this, or step aside and let us take care of him. And because you don't follow his deen, you don't follow the message, and we will take care of him, we will get rid of him for you." Mean they wanted to kill him, and because you don't see eye to eye with him either, as far as the deen is concerned, as far as the belief system is concerned. You protect him, but you don't believe in his religion, so let us deal with him, and that will be a benefit even to you. So Abu Talib, he tells to them a soft word, and he's able to get them basically off of his back. What happens is they come back to Abu Talib sometime after, and they tell him, "Oh, Abu Talib, you have a great status amongst us. You are one of our elders, and we have asked you to conveying to the people in terms of Islam. And they say to Abu Talib, this is the chiefs of Quraysh, and we will not be patient upon the fact that our gods are being abused, and we are being put down because our traditions are being downplayed. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. So we will not tolerate this anymore until you prevent him from doing what he's doing, from preaching this message. And so they told him the second time, they put this message upon him, really showing that how upset they were about what was going on, and they put all of the responsibility on the shoulders of Abu Talib. So this time Abu Talib, he felt compelled to do something. So he goes to our beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he says to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, "Oh, my nephew, your people have come to me, and they said to me such and such." That what we mentioned earlier, and and he says to them, and Abu Talib says to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he says, "So take it easy. Take it easy in terms of conveying your message, and because I am getting slack for what you are doing." But our beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, how does he respond to him? He responds to him with this famous response that shows you the development of our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam from when he first received the message, right? When he first received the message, he was scared. Cover me up, cover me up. When in the second stage, when he has to convey the message to his family members, there was some hesitation on his part too, because he knew some of the rejection that might come. Now the Prophet ﷺ, after preaching the message for 3 years, he's emboldened, and now at this point in time, he has 60 followers, and our beloved Prophet ﷺ is of course strengthened with the Quran, has the Quran being frequently recited to him in response to the things that are taking place in society. So he has this, he knows, where he stands, and he knows that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is completely with him. And so he responds to his uncle Abu Talib, and he says these famous words, "Ya am, wallahi law wada'a ash-shams fi yamini wal qamara fi shimali." He says, "Oh my uncle, I swear by Allah, if they put the sun in my right hand and the moon in my left, in order for me to abandon this cause, I would not abandon it before Allah had made it triumph, or I had perished for its sake. I will not stop until I am successful in what I'm doing, or until I lose my life for the sake of conveying the message." And so, subhanAllah, what do we learn from this powerful statement of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? We see our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he stands up for what he must do without any compromise, and he tells his uncle irrevocably, there is no way that I will not do what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has commanded me to do. And he uses this beautiful expression. If we analyze this expression, as some of the commentators have, they've said something very beautiful. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he picks two of the most prominent things in the sky. And the sky is this vast, beautiful reality, especially in the Arabian desert. And he picks the sun, and he says, "I won't put the sun in my right hand," and the right being the more prominent, being what is more honorable and dignified, signifying that. And in my left, I'll if they put the sun in the right and the moon in my left, I will never give up this message. And some of the commentators, they say something nice. They say that the Prophet ﷺ, he uses these 2 points of light as a reference of talking about how he will not give up this message. And but what is also implied there, that he will not give up the light that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has conveyed to him, which is of even which is of infinitely greater, more importance than the light of the sun and the light of the moon, the light of revelation, the light of the Quran that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent down to humanity, the nur that Allah has given to the Prophet ﷺ for him to convey. That I will never give that up. I will never relinquish my responsibility with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in conveying this message. So some lessons, or maybe a lesson or two, that we can gather for ourselves from this exchange of our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The firmness by which he stood upon his faith. Right? Our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam conveying the message 3 years. There's only at this point 60 people that are following him, but these 60 people are worth mountains in their weight of the burden that they carried of the da'wah. In fact, as some of the commentators, they say something very nice. Each one of the Sahaba at that time, they were equivalent to tens, if not hundreds, of the mushrikeen of their time, and that's why they were able to pierce the message of Islam into society, into people's hearts. They were able to withstand the torture, the persecution, all of the hardships in the way of Islam, because they took from the prophetic fountain how to be patient, how to be persistent, how to never compromise, how to never give up upon your ideals and your values. And so that's so important for us today, living in a society where, and almost in any part of the world now, where there is so much around us that is pulling us away from Allah and pulling us away from our deen, and distracting us from salah, giving us the reason, giving us reasons to easily go astray, to stand firm, to stand tall, to stand, without any compromise, without any wavering in the face of all that. Just like our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he stood firmly with his uncle, telling his uncle that I will never give up this message, right? And we take that same attitude today as Muslims living in the world. We will never give up our deen. We will never compromise. We will never back down from practicing what we know is the divine decree upon us, and what is ultimately the truth, and the divine lifestyle that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us to live, the natural, the fitri lifestyle that we've been endowed with. And so we always hold that in mind. We always keep that in our heart, as we meet different life's difficulties, whether that be at work, whether that even be in our own family context, where sometimes we may be challenged for wanting to practice certain aspects of our deen. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us firm, just like the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was firm in our deen. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to plant our feet solid in the ground, in the tide of anything that the world may throw us in terms of trying to disturb us and our relationship with our Lord. Wa sallallahu ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in.